Hey folks, Russ Bailey here, and it's time for another BrushPile Fishing, the podcast. No matter where you get your podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, doesn't matter. Make sure you check them out. And we've got another great guest in store today. We're going to stay right here in Ohio, talk to a good friend of mine that helps run the Ohio Crappie Club, and he's a guide up on the Lake Erie area, Greg Rutschilling. So stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back with BrushPile Fishing, the podcast. All right, folks, welcome back. With us right now, and hopefully you can see him good, Greg Rutschilling. How we doing, Greg?
Good. Yourself, Russ?
Man, is the weather any cooler up in the Toledo area than it is here in St. Mary's?
It's not bad today, but it's supposed to be in, I think, 105 by the midweek. So,
man, that's crazy. I mean, we don't live in Mississippi, man. What's going on this summer, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, isn't it? We never get spring anymore.
Yeah, it's you're right. We didn't this year for sure, man. It went from cold to blazing hot for sure.
Yes, it does.
So, Greg, of course, you're a guide up in the Lake Erie area and the river up there. But before we talk about that, let's talk about something you're a big part of, the Ohio Crappie Club. How's things going there?
Oh, it's going great, Russ. I guess I got voted / talked into being the tournament director of that this year. However you want to word it. Trying to get things rolling. It is going great. We're averaging about 55 boats or teams a tournament right now. We fish mainly in the central Ohio area, 10 tournaments a year with a classic. So it's going really well. Got a lot of new teams. We're family friendly oriented, and that's what we want to stick to. Low cost, not big payouts. Pay out a lot of people, a lot of great prizes, and that's what that's what we're striving to do, and it's working. So,
well, 55 boats a tournament, that's pretty darn good these days, especially with gas shooting back up. And I've seen your numbers are staying steady, so that's great.
Yeah, we just ran our youth tournament. We had 44 youth. This is the first year that we did a free event. We went from 17 kids last year to 44 this year. Every kid got a free rod, tackle box, all kinds of stuff. I mean, it was probably about 15 different door prizes every kid walked away with a rod and reel combo from B&M, the Little Lucy's. B&M's a great sponsor with us. So it was awesome. A lot of good smiles on the kids' faces, and that's what we want.
B&M, I've heard of those guys. I've heard of them.
They're yeah.
Jack and them's great. Like I say, man, they do so much for the fishing industry, and they don't do it, so people know it's them. I mean, they keep quiet about it, but man, they do so much to help promote the sport. And again, it starts with the kids. So I was glad to hear that then.
Yeah. And you heard of Crappie Magnet. You heard of those folks too.
Yeah, a little bit.
We actually gave every kid a pack of Crappie magnets, and so it worked out really well.
Awesome, man. So let me ask you this. On the tournament trail, you personally, what's your favorite lake?
My favorite lake on that trail is probably Alum Creek.
Okay.
I love Alum Creek. Actually, my favorite lake is Hoover, but we don't fish that in the trail anymore because of the 9.9 restriction. But it's probably my favorite lake in all of Ohio. And probably Buckeyes right behind.
I love Buckeye. Me and my son Wyatt taped a show there, and matter of fact, Joe just sent me the final cuts to look at. It was a good day. It was a good day, and that we had that show done in an hour and a half, 2 hours. It was completely done. So yeah, I love Buckeye. Alum Creek. I got to fish not too long ago. We was doing some video clips and stuff, so I had to get some fishing in there, but. So if someone is interested in more information about the Ohio Club, how do they do that?
Yeah, they can either check us out on Facebook at Ohio Crappie Club, or go to Ohio Crappie Club or OhioCrappie.com is our website, and you can get all the rules, our tournament locations. We have 4 more tournaments coming up here this fall out of our 10. We got Rocky Fork, Paint Creek, O'Shaughnessy, and Cedar Creek coming up. So 4 pretty good crappie lakes. And if they go out to the website or to Facebook and hook us up, I can get all the information.
There you go, folks. And especially if you have never tournament fished before, local clubs are the way to do it. One of the things Greg talked about that I've seen over and over is the friendliness of the people. They share information, and it's a great way to break into the tournament fishing. And right now, especially with, inflation the way it is, gas prices, you're staying around your local area. You're not traveling, 900 miles to fish a tournament. So that's good. And one of the other things that I want to point out that Greg, he's a little modest and didn't say anything, but we get such great help from his club when we put on our Travis Mills tournament in October, which is October 8th this year. And if you don't know anything about that, we put on a tournament at Delaware Lake. It's $200 entry fee per team, and all the proceeds are going to the Travis Mills Foundation. Travis is a U.S. veteran. He lost both arms and both legs in combat, and what he does now for veterans is incredible. They have a 1-week retreat. It's completely free for the veterans and their families. They have fishing, golf, counseling, you name it. It's up in Maine, and just an organization I'm super proud to be a part of. And Greg, you guys do a lot to help us with that tournament. As a matter of fact, you personally have put on the fish fry, and that goes without saying, man, how much we appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we enjoy to do that, and I enjoy frying up the fish, and hopefully I can get out perch fishing. Hopefully I can get out perch fishing for you this year yet, because I know how you like those. So I am planning on doing the fish fry again this year, and I think so it's awesome. It's an awesome. So many people support our club. We like to give back, and we like to support any way we can as well. So.
And folks, the last couple of years, we've raised, I think, between $25,000 and $30,000 each year to donate to our veteran causes. So if you'd like more information, go to our BrushPile Fishing Facebook page. You can find it there. And again, that's the Travis Mills Benefit Tournament on Delaware Lake. But let's switch gears now, Greg. Let's talk about you personally and your guide service. Anytime you talk about guides or whatever, you think the South, Mississippi, Alabama, and I can remember when I started a guide service on St. Mary's years ago, people said, nobody's going to pay to fish in Ohio, but man, we've got good fish. And you've got it really made because you're up at the Portage River area. You've got the Lake Erie Harbor area. And I think people really took notice a couple years ago. Jake Hanksler and I did a show up on Lake Erie, and we caught toad after toad and then one massive fish. And I think that show's got a lot of views. A lot of people took notice. And, a couple years ago, I got Lenny Barker from the Cleveland Indians pitched a perfect game. He come up and joined me on a Portage, which you guide on. So we're getting ready to head into the fall. The waters are going to cool down. Tell the folks, and if they're afraid of big water, here's a big plus. If they're afraid of big water, okay, they're never going to see that big water if they go on a trip with you, are they?
That's correct. Unless we fish Sandusky Bay, sometimes that gets a little rough, as you know. But other than that, you'll never see big water. It's all calm river tributaries or marinas that we're putting in the boat ramp right there and staying there. So.
Now, do you guide mainly on the Port Clinton area?
I do a lot of Port Clinton, Catawba, Sandusky Bay. If people want to, I always tell Sandusky Bay, that's obviously where you and Jake were. And, it's like that's if you want bigger fish, but, that usually the quantity is not there, but the quality is,
right.
Whereas the Portage River, we can get a lot of quality and quantity, both. So I try to stay there. It's easy access. It's usually easy fishing for the clientele. You get all kinds of types, right? So it's easy. It's usually pretty easy fishing. And the people that live on the area are super nice.
I've got some good friends up there in the Portage right now. Gene, if you're listening to this, thank you, brother.
Yeah, that's right. Because you know how it is. When you're a dock fisherman, a pontoon shooter, shooting docks, you can get some angry people because you are close to their property, and we all want to respect that. So the Portage River is one of my favorites by far.
And, you know, folks, this time of year, especially the colder the water gets, you know, I love fishing the crappie magnets up there, and I'll start out with just the regular crappie magnet. But then as they starting to fatten up for winter, I'll go to that slab magnet. It's a little bit bigger body bait. A lot of people are afraid to use that. I love it. And I can't give away a whole lot of secrets, but there's going to be something else I'm working with crappie magnet coming out. Greg, you're going to love them. That's all I can say, man. Once they're, well, we'll leave it at that. You're going to love them. But let's talk about the pattern or technique that you're using this time of year, whether it's in the portage or in Lake Erie tributaries.
Yeah, we just strictly bobber fish, shooting tunes or shooting docks. But I mean, really, we're using, you know, any just small bait under a cork about 18 to 36 inches. You know, fishing dock posts, poles. In the springtime, you'll get them on the rocks. If you can find some rocks, we'll slide it off the rocks. But it's my favorite type of fishing. You know, everybody does a spider rig, and, you know, you go down, so everybody does the live scope sniping. You're not going to get that with me. I have live scope on my boat. We'll use it to target some fish or whatever, look at a tune, but I'm not all about targeting single fish. It's just not my style. So it's more of a cork and bobber and, you know, a little jig, and just watching that bobber just slightly move I love it, man.
You know what? I've mentioned this several times in the shows and on podcasts, but say what you want. We all started out fishing with them little corks, okay? And still today, and I've been doing this a long time, there is nothing that'll pound that heart like watching that cork on the water, and a second later, it's completely gone. There's still, just love it, man. And that's what people can expect if they get a trip with you this fall, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep, we won't do any sniping. We're just strictly that way. We'll shoot tunes, and there ain't nothing like feeling that thump underneath the tune either, you know, when it's coming back. But yeah, that's what to expect. We don't spider rig. We don't. Yeah, very simple. Back to the basics and fun, you know.
Well, and the one thing that I like up there, especially in the portage, it's got big, high, steep banks. So if it's windy, you can still get out of the wind. The day that Lenny Barker and I went, it was late fall and it was freezing. We had a massive cold front come through, kind of shut some of the bigger fish down. We still caught a few nice ones, but the numbers that day, Lenny said he's never had a trip where he caught that many fish in one day. It was pretty crazy, man.
Yeah. I remember that day you were out there. I took the kids out, I think the day before or the 2 days before, and we caught a lot of big fish. But yeah, late fall, the colder, the better. Mm-hmm. I have a buddy of mine. He comes up the last 4 days in October, and we've literally fished in 32-degree weather, and we fished in 85-degree weather in the last week of October. And I think our lowest day, I think he's been doing this for 4 years with me, books 4 straight days. And I think our lowest day was 85 crappies, was our worst day out of, you know, whatever, 16, 18 trips. It's crazy. The numbers are crazy in the fall.
Now, I did not make it up there this spring, but I know last year, not really an issue, but it was just the way Mother Nature was, but most of the docks in the portage were actually underwater because we had so much rain. What's the condition up there looking like this fall?
Right now it's low. This spring it was high. I fished almost all rocks this year in this spring, and they were on there pretty good, which was nice because you couldn't get underneath the most of the docks. Yeah, again, we never had spring, right? So it went from really cold to hot, and the water rose with a lot of the rain. As you know, you've been up there, that river will rise 3 foot, and then the next day you go fish it and it's 4 foot low. Yeah, you know, it goes in and out, and the wind, it doesn't even have to be the rain. And people get confused about that with Lake Erie is it doesn't have to be the rain. It can be just wind. If the wind's blowing in the wrong direction, or, you know, you get a northeast wind and offshore wind, the water rises 2 foot. If it's coming out of the southwest, it goes down 2 foot. That's just the nature of Lake Erie. You know, you don't get that on a Grand Lake St. Mary's or but it all goes to Canada or comes back.
Well, and people don't realize, you know, we say Lake Erie and, you know, they're thinking of normal lake, but if you've never seen it, the Great Lakes, I mean, it's like looking into oceans, man. They're huge.
Yes, they are. Yeah. So So yeah, I think this fall, so far we haven't had a lot of rain. It all depends. But usually the fall we don't get the big rainfalls and the winds like we do in the springs. Usually the fall is really not a huge issue for us fishing the docks like it is in the spring.
Sure. Well, and a lot of times in the fall we've got a lot more stable weather than we do in the spring. So
yeah,
if someone is interested in booking a trip with you, how do they go about that?
Yeah, they can just get a hold of me on Facebook, or you can look up Cowboy Charters as the name of my charter business, Cowboy Charters on Facebook, or just give me a call, 419-467-5401.
Okay,
so I can book that way, and we'll be good to go.
There you have it, folks. If you've never fished Lake Erie for crappie, one of the other good things that Greg didn't mention, or I didn't mention, is Lake Erie, of course, is known for walleye fishing, smallmouth fishing, and perch fishing. So a lot of times you're not going to see very many boats up there crappie fishing. It is unique. Nobody does it. And you owe it to yourself to try it one time, because you'll be hooked. Like Greg said, the quality is there. The quantity is there. It's super. And Greg's a fun guy to fish with. He is a fun guy to fish with. You'll have a blast. Speaking of which, as soon as those perch turn on, we need to do it.
Yes, we do. Actually, I might be going out. I don't know if I'm going to make it this weekend, but I just got word they're starting to bite. So
no kidding.
So they're starting to spool up this late summer. So we'll see. We'll get out there, and we'll definitely get you out there and get some perch. I need some for the Veterans Tournament. So that's always a big hit. I have enough crappie in the freezer to donate, and now I need some perch.
And folks, I know a lot of people have never eaten yellow perch. Oh my gosh, they are the tastiest fish. And Lake Erie, when you go up there for those, the way we do a drop shot rig, you actually catch two at a time most of the time. And I've had days where as soon as it drops down, you're pulling it back up because you've got two more fish on. And like I say, as far as taste, absolutely, you love yellow perch. So I'm waiting on that phone call, buddy.
Yeah, well, we'll get a hold of you. Yeah, like you said, sometimes you drop it down and you pull them back. You can't even fish with two rods. If you get on a good school, you can't even use two rods. You can't bait and pull fast enough, right?
That's right. Well, Greg, I appreciate you joining us. Cowboy Charters on Facebook, the Ohio Crappie Club, 10 tournaments. There's still a few left. You can still get into it. Break yourself into tournament fishing. Great group of guys. Well, all except that Darcy guy. I ain't going to say no good about him.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's awesome too. He has known Darcy for many years, and we talked about the Veterans Tournament. He sure helped out the last couple of years a lot. So, Greg, appreciate it. Anything else you want to say to folks before we get out of here?
No, I think we're good.
All right.
It was nice talking to you, and I'll give you a phone call here when the birds start biting.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks, Russ.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed it. Another great guest we had today, talking a little Lake Erie and Portage River crappie. It's always good to talk to Greg, and you've seen how I got my invite in there. I forced it on him for my perch fishing trip. But anyways, hope you enjoyed it. And folks, if you do not have the BrushPile Fishing app, make sure you get that, whether you have an iPhone or a Android phone. It's completely free. So many features on there. I believe Greg's on there. We have a section for guides. You can actually look up his information, see where he guides. If you say, yeah, I'd like to book a trip, you can actually hit the little phone icon there. It takes you straight to his phone, and you can book your trip right through the app. Again, completely free. You can keep an electronic log. And of course, all the BrushPile fishing shows are right at your fingertips, and all of this is free. So get the BrushPile Companion Fishing app. Before we close, I would love to thank our sponsors here: the B&M Pole Company, Cornfield Fishing Gear, Crappie Magnet, Driftmaster Rods, the I-Hole Jig Company, Easy Drift Trolling Systems, Garmin Electronics, Hook and Bullet Sunglasses, Mossback Fish Habitat, Offshore Tackle Company, Power Pole, Slimeline Fishing Line, and War Eagle Boats. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again on another BrushPile Fishing, the podcast.